Hello, welcome to Alyssa Jean's Reviews, and welcome to my predictions review for House of the Dragon Season 2. I made 10 predictions at the start of the season, which I will now go through and let you know how I did. Spoiler alert, not very well. Um, Speaking of spoiler alerts, actually, here's a legitimate spoiler alert. Uh, if you have not read the book Fire and Blood, then you will not want to watch this video, I should say, because some of these predictions that I made actually didn't happen yet and will probably still happen in season 3. So if you haven't read the source material, then you're going to be spoiled watching this video. I'm sorry. So you should not watch it unless you want to be spoiled, or if you read Fire and Blood. So, before I get into my predictions, I want to do just a very quick overview of my thoughts and feelings and opinions on season 2. I was going to do a whole separate video on that, but I just simply did not have the time. But frankly, if you just go to Enchantment of Eternity, go back and watch any of the discussions that we recorded this season, you can basically get my opinion. But um, just a quick overview. So I actually do something I don't normally do, which is I'll start with my rating out of 10, which is an 8. I don't need to put the number 8 on the screen. It's an 8. So to give you context, going into the finale, it was pretty much a shoo-in for a 9. It was almost guaranteed for a 9. All they had to do was like have a finale with an ending, with an actual ending. Um, I would have loved it to be the ending that I predicted, which I'll get to later, but I wanted to be an ending and something that felt like a payoff for all the buildup instead of paying off the buildup with more buildup, which is what they did. So it's not the, oh, you're just mad because you got your predictions wrong. I don't give a fuck about my predictions, as you will see when I go through them. I'd had at least 2 that were throwaway jokes that was guaranteed to get wrong, and I knew it going in. So I don't care about that. If I get my predictions wrong and it still has a satisfying ending, I'm fine. So it's not that I know that's just like the common thing. I think even Dan and Dave said that. Oh, you're mad because I didn't get the predictions right. Fuck you. But so, anyways, it's not that. Um, it's just that it does not have an actual ending. Um, but the reason why it was a shoe-in for a 9, going, and honestly, like if it had been like the best finale ever, it could have possibly gotten a 10. I think a 10 was unlikely, but not off the table going into the finale. But a 9 was, I felt like a shoe-in for a 9. But because it didn't have an ending, I dropped it down 1 point to an 8. But I didn't drop it down any further than that because of all the things that I said throughout the season when I was on Enchantment of Eternity, talking with Mark and Darren, uh, all the things that I said, I really appreciated it as an adaptation. I think a lot of the way they interpreted the scenes, the big scenes in the book was excellent. I even liked Blood and Cheese. I know people complained about it. I thought it was good what they did with it personally. I know I'm in the minority. Rook's Rest, of course, the Red Sewing, of course, was amazing. And just the way they would add nuance to the characters that doesn't exist in the book. They take 2 lines and they make it into this big, interesting scene, well acted scene that just is not in the written material. They just do such a good job of that. The writing was excellent. The acting was excellent. My big beef though with the season is the pacing was not excellent. They drew out the demon storyline too long. Don't even get me started on the fucking Reyna storyline. Jesus Christ, how many episodes does she have to run around looking for that fucking dragon? Jesus Christ. So I still think that they could have gotten to the point that I wanted to, which I'll get to in my predictions. in 8 episodes. They wouldn't. I don't agree with that. It's because they didn't have 10 episodes. I think they could have cut out a lot of the fat and still done it in 8 episodes quite easily. But anyways, I'm gonna get into my predictions, and you'll see that the majority of the predictions that I get wrong is because I really expected the pace to be a lot faster, based off of season one where it was lightning pace, like they just sped through that storyline, jumped through years like it was nothing. So I thought that they would keep a similar pace, except that they wouldn't be doing the time jumps; they would just staying in one time period, but but be going pretty fast. So as I go through my predictions, you will see all these predictions I get wrong because I made that false assumption. And it was way, way slower than I thought it was going to be, to its detriment, in my opinion. All right. So with that out of the way, let's get into it, my predictions, and I'll tell you how I did on them. And again, if you have not read Fire and Blood, you do not want to watch this because I messed up with the pacing and I predicted things to happen in season two that have not yet happened yet on the show. So just be aware of that. Now let us get into it. Okay, let's get into my first prediction. And this is something that I started talking about when I did my season one book club. I don't know if I'm gonna do a season two book club. I would like to, but I don't know if I'm ever gonna have time for it. But anyways, so I talked about it first a couple years ago. Um, and that is my first prediction. The blood and cheese murder will happen off screen. So, my reasoning for this was that I did not think that they could possibly actually show child murder on screen. It would just trigger too many people. We have kids getting gunned down in schools all the time, et cetera, et cetera. Now, they did have audio, and the audio was a bit much for some people, but my prediction is still correct because they did not show anything happening on screen. As I alluded to earlier, I liked what they did with Blood and Cheese. I liked that. I thought it was a really good adaptation. It made sense to me for the show. It made sense for Helena's character, and I guess they had already written Mailer out of the show, and I'm kind of glad of it because he has this whole thing where he gets killed, and this is whole storyline that happens later in the book, and like don't have to worry about any of that. Also, it raised the stakes because now Aegon does not have an heir. He does not have an heir. And then we find out at the end of the season that he cannot produce another heir. So I thought it raised the stakes. I liked it. I think my only quibble will be Alicent being in bed with Kristen. I don't care that she wasn't there. I think the whole Kristen Cole affair was stupid and absolutely amounted to nothing. But other than that, I did like the blood and cheese scene, and it did happen off screen as I said it would. So one prediction correct. I won't be saying that very often in this video. Let's move on to prediction number two. So this is one that I really made for fun. It was just kind of a joke. I really did not expect it to happen, but if by some miracle it did happen, I'd be like, haha, I said it. But I really, really, really did not expect it to happen. And I said that in the video. And then somebody commented, you really think that's gonna happen? That's crazy. And I'm like, well, I said that I really actually don't think it's gonna happen. But it was a fun prediction to make because I kind of wanted it to happen. And that is my number two. Jace will totally hook up with Sarah Snow. Sarah Snow, of course, being the bastard sister of Cragen Stark. That Mushroom says in the book that Jace hooks up with her. Most people didn't believe that that happened, and then he actually marries her. But now that I've seen the season, that wouldn't have fit. It wouldn't have made a lot of sense for them to have it. I'm glad they didn't have it. But going into the season, I thought it would be kind of fun and kind of cool. So I made a prediction that I was 99% sure would be wrong, but it was a fun prediction to make anyways. See, if I really cared about getting my predictions right, I would have, instead of saying this, I would have said they opened the season with Winterfell because I said that last season. And actually, like people like Mark, my sibling on Enchantment of Eternity, disagreed with me. So I could have said it, but by the time the season was about to start, it seemed like a no-brainer. It seemed like 100%. So I felt like it would have been a softball. So I wanted to give myself a little bit more of a challenge. But if I actually want to get my predictions right next year, I should go with those sure things. like, like I should have said that they're going to start the season in Winterfell because I knew that that was going to happen. All right. Now we move on to my third prediction. So this is when we're really getting into the pacing predictions, where you'll see where I really expected the season to go much, much, much faster. I thought it was going to go at a breakneck pace, the way the season one did. You'll see that in a lot of my predictions. But start with prediction number three: Rhaenys will be dead by the end of episode three. And I even said in my video, well, if she dies in episode two, then that's still I still get it right, as I said, by the end of episode three. This is how certain I was. It would be no later than episode three we would get the Battle of Rook's Rest. And we didn't. It was episode four. I had no idea they were going to do the storyline with Rhaenyra going to see Alicent. And I didn't mind that storyline. I actually thought that could have been in episode two instead of episode three. There's a lot of stuff that they could have slimmed out. But yeah, really, with the 8 episode season, I thought they were going to go as fast as they went in season one. And I really expected this to happen at the end of episode three. I was incorrect. It was episode four. Okay, moving on to my fourth prediction. This was a two-part prediction, both related to Alan of Hull. I didn't want to do two separate predictions for this one character, so I just kind of smushed it into one. And I said at the beginning that if I only got half of it right, I would give myself half of a point. So my number four prediction was Alan of Hull will ride Sea Smoke, and he will clearly be the Sea Snake's son. So uh, I got this half right. The first part, Alan of Hull will ride Sea Smoke, was based on my idea that they were maybe going to combine Adam and Alan into one character, because I saw no casting information for Adam. Yes, I did look it up. I looked everywhere. I could find nothing, so I did not find any casting for Alan, or for Adam rather, and just Alan, 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 Alan was all over the trailer. So I thought maybe they would combine him into one character, and he would end up writing Sea Smoke. That's not at all what they did. I'm glad that they didn't do it that way. I really liked what they did with Alan and Adam on the show. Um, Now, the second part of that prediction, that he will clearly be the sea snake's son, I also gave the caveat that if I'm wrong about the first half and Adam is in the show, that Adam also would be very clearly the sea snake's son, and that is correct. In the book, uh, it wasn't 100% certain. Mushroom said that it was, and the maester who was writing the book was like, I think here we're going to have to go with Mushroom as probably the most likely possibility that they are the sons of the sea snake, but it wasn't 100% clear to the reader. I was saying in the show, you're going to have no doubt. You're going to have absolutely no doubt that Alan and or Adam will absolutely be the sons of the sea snake, Corlys Valerian, and that was the case. There is absolutely no doubt in the show that they are his sons. To me, that was kind of a no-brainer. So I did pick one no-brainer to go with one that was less likely. So now we move on to prediction number five. My fifth prediction: Rhaena will ride Sheepstealer instead of Nettles. Yeah, I'm giving myself credit for this. I don't care. I don't care if she actually got on Sheep Stealer. That is very clearly what the show has been telegraphing. Now, I've heard people say that, oh, what if Nettles like pops out and goes, hey, I've been feeding this dragon this sheep. This is my dragon, and like hops on and rides it off. If they did that, and I think people are doing that out of wishful thinking because they really want Nettles to be on the show. But if they did that, I'm sorry, that would be terrible because they've been telegraphing Reyna writing Sheep Steal. I would be so mad if they did that because they've spent 4 episodes having Reyna run around looking for Sheep Stealer. She needs to get on that fucking dragon. You can take my credit away if she doesn't in season 3, but obviously she is. That's where they are headed. So I don't care what anyone says. I'm giving myself credit because they've telegraphed the fuck out of the fact that she is going to ride Sheep Stealer. It's 100% happening. So I can go back and deduct my point in the next season if she doesn't get on Sheep Stealer. But obviously that's what the show was setting up for. Nettles is not going to pop out. Out of nowhere. Wishful thinking by Nettles fans. For the record, I don't care that they cut Nettles. Like that's what Game of Thrones had to do. You got to cut some characters and combine storylines. I don't care. What I cared about is the fact that Reyna did nothing for 4 episodes. They could have condensed this story into 2 episodes. She could already be on Sheep Stealer by episode 6, quite frankly. All right. So now moving on to my prediction number 6. Prediction number 6. Aemond and Daemon will have a scene together. So this one was incorrect, and this is actually not a pacing prediction. Um, I was really feeling like they needed to set up the Battle of the God's Eye, which would happen later, and really set up that rivalry between these two and the fact that they're kind of similar people and that kind of thing. And they did, but not by having them in a scene together. And this was a bold prediction because they don't have a scene together in the book and they're completely apart. But I thought maybe the show would find a way for them to at least cross paths. And I will say, if Damon had a scene with Aemond in one of his visions, I totally would have given myself credit. To me, that would have counted because it would serve the purpose that I said that it needed to. And that would be, it would like prove my reasoning for my prediction. The reason why they needed to have a scene together is to set up the God's Eye, to set up this rivalry. They did do that, but not with having them in a scene together. And they didn't have Aemond in a vision. They had Daemon seeing himself wearing Aemond's eye patch. I'm not counting that. That was Matt Smith. That's clearly does not count. But if it was Aemond, I totally would have counted it as correct. But it wasn't, so you don't have to fight me on that one. Um, Now let's get into another pacing prediction that I got wrong. Let's go to prediction number 7. So prediction number 7 was that the Battle of the Gullet and Jace's death will happen in episode 6. Obviously, I'm way wrong on that one. Is that uh, they are pushing the Battle of the Gullet back into season 3. I also want to point out, someone said in the comments of my original video, oh, well, it's been confirmed they're not doing Battle of the Gullet in season 3. I'm going to make sure to do a disclaimer next year. Don't do that. I don't care about plot leaks and all that. I know I probably used them in Game of Thrones, but Game of Thrones was so much more vast and so much more complicated. The fun of predictions to me is not looking at a fucking plot leak or production leak or knowing, oh, it's been confirmed that this is going to happen. And no, fuck that. I want to read the book and then base my predictions solely off of the book and how I think that the show will adapt it. So I will make a little disclaimer next year. Don't write a comment saying, well, this has already been confirmed. I don't care about that, and I'm not going to look at that ahead of time. I'm making my predictions based solely on the book. Um, and in this case, yeah, I thought that they were going to go fast, 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 fast. Let's go through this. We're going to have the Battle of the Gullet. Chase dies, episode 6. I mean, they set up the blockade thing in episode 1. So instead of having Corlys stand by his ship as it's being worked on for the whole fucking season, you could have gotten here quite easily if they chose. But I would have been fine if they had pushed the Battle of the Gullet into season 3, as long as my prediction number 9 was correct, which I will get to in just a little bit. But first, let's go on to prediction number 8. So my eighth prediction was we will not see the battle at the Reach on screen. I'm sure this battle has a name. I can never forget all the names of all the different battles. I'm talking about the one where Dayron comes in on his dragon and saves the day for the Greens. Um, so this is correct. I did get this one correct. Um, yeah, because I don't think it's actually happened yet in the show. My reasoning was that um, we're not gonna. I don't think we're gonna see Daron in season two. So I thought there would be a line of dialogue, or it would be cut entirely. I think it might. It's still gonna happen. It just hasn't happened yet, but this is still technically correct. So here's where the pacing, my pacing misunderstandings comes to my favor. My prediction was because I didn't think they would show it on screen or that they would cut it out entirely, but it didn't happen yet, so therefore my prediction is technically correct. So this time the slow pacing works in my favor. Now I get to my number nine. And this is the one that I was most upset about because not because I got my prediction wrong, but because I said from the beginning that this is how they have to end the season because that is the best ending for the season. And so here's my number nine prediction. The season will end with Rhaenyra taking the Iron Throne, and it goddamn fucking should have. There were some plot leaks even a week before the episode that were still saying. I did start looking at some of the plot leaks during the season, not to see of my predictions, not to base my predictions off of them, but just because I was really curious what was going to happen at the end. Uh, and there were plot leaks still saying all the way up till the week before the finale that Rhaenyra was going to take King's Landing and that uh, she would get a raven from Thailand, thinking that um, Aegon Raymond was still there and informing them that they had stopped the blockade. Oh, and then that would set up the Battle of Gullet for season three, and thus moving the order a little bit, um, which would have been actually interesting. And that would explain how the Battle of Gullet happens after the taking of King's Landing, or simultaneously with it, or really just after it, because Thailand didn't know. The Triarchy didn't know that Rhaenyra takes King's Landing. I would have been totally fine with that. I think you 100% absolutely had to end it there. Instead, you ended it with a montage of things setting up for things. So we have build up, build up, build up, build up, and our payoff for all that build up, more build up. So they absolutely failed by not ending it here. And I'm not saying that because I got my prediction wrong. As you'll see with my next prediction, I don't take this that seriously. It's kind of a joke to me. You'll see that you saw that with my number two prediction, and my number 10 prediction is the same way. Um, but what I'm mad about is that it needed to end there to have an actual good ending, or any kind of ending for the season. The season had no ending. Um, so enough ranting about that. Let's go into my number 10 prediction. My final prediction, Mushroom Cameo! Yes, for the second year in a row, I get this one wrong. I kind of made a joke that I would just make this a standard prediction every year. Which is maybe if I want to actually try to get them correct, I should not do that. But watch when as soon as I don't do it, Mushroom's gonna pop up. He's gonna pop out of nowhere because I decided not to make the prediction. But yes, this was a silly, fun prediction that I expected to get wrong. I don't think we'll ever actually see Mushroom on the show. It's just fun for me to predict it. I mean, obviously, if he did ever appear, he would not play nearly as big of a role as he does in the book, because he's apparently Rhaenyra's jester in the book, and he's obviously not. But they could have like him pop in like a traveling jester coming to see Rhaenyra, at Dragonstone, and maybe it turns out that that's all he ever was, is just some traveling jester who comes in and he made all this shit up because he wasn't actually there. That would be interesting, but I actually don't really expect them to do it. Um, all right, so I think that does it for my predictions review. I got 3.5 correct, so only 35%, and just not as well as I did last year. I think last year was what was I like at 60%? I don't remember. I think I was above 50, um, but not last year. Last season, 2 years ago. Um, I will take it more seriously next time, and I take a hard look at the pacing. I think though they have to go faster. Ryan Condal is still saying it's 4 seasons. They can't do 2 more seasons at this pace, or they won't get halfway through the story that they need to get through. So they gotta speed it up. So I'll have to like think about the pacing. Maybe I won't expect it to go quite that fast, but hopefully a little bit faster than season 2 did. Um, that's it. That's all I got on season 2. As I said, I would love to do a book club video where I kind of really lay out the coming seasons. I don't know if I'll have time for that, so you may not see that. But thank you for coming and joining me here for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you have not already. I know I'm not actually making a lot of content in 2024, and probably will continue not to make a lot of content in 2025, but you can still enjoy all the videos that I've made in the past. All right, I will see you all soon. Goodbye.